Good afternoon, this is Nicholas from Gandora Gaming, and I'm here to bring you guys my Fossil Adamancipator deck profile for 2022 post-Power Elements. This deck is a really cool OTK deck. It's a really cool spin on Adamancipators. And to go on the second build of it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. It's one of the coolest archetypes that Konami has made in a while, at least in 2020. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, first things first. We play 3 Nibiru, the Rock of the Primal Being. This card is amazing for any deck, especially going second deck. And Nibiru is strongest in rock decks because you actually can't summon this guy, which is kind of crazy. But he's just a big ass rock that we can search. And basically, he's our going first and our going second plan, because going first, we can search him and then be like, okay, try to build a board. You will face the Nibiru. And yeah, he's just a really strong card. If no one knows what this card does, basically it's what killed the dinosaurs. You tribute all monsters your opponent controls after they did 5 summons, and then you just summon a big token to their field, and you summon this rock boy onto your field. It's a really strong card. And I wish it sees more play, but in display format, this card's kind of not the greatest. It's good against other decks, but Splight, they kind of just don't give a shit about Nibiru, because they are locked into level 2s, and that means including you. So you can't Nibiru them, but they're locked into level 2s, which is pretty interesting. Next we play my spicy primal Kong Great. Now, this guy, you usually don't see him. He's one of the weird rock monsters that got introduced in like pack filler. But I always loved this guy's design, not to mention I always liked his effect. Funny enough, he has a flip effect, even though he's not a flip monster. Basically, can't be normal set. Must be special summoned by card effect. If a monster is sent to graveyard by opponent's card... Well, I'm saying that wrong. If a monster is sent from your opponent's hand or deck to the graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand and face down in defense position. When this card is flipped face up, target 2 cards on the field and destroy him. He's a 3,000 attack monster. He's really cool. The other reason why I play him is not only is that he's a rock, but the fossils require high level monsters. So if your opponent ain't playing high level monsters, we got to. So that's why we're playing them. Not to mention the artwork is always amazing on this guy. There's only 2 of this guy's archetype. It's him and the other baboon. I wish they actually made it into an archetype. That'd be pretty cool. Next we play 1 Gaia, the Plight of Earth Giants. Now this guy's interesting. Not only is he a 2800, but you can special summon him by banishing 2 rock monsters from your graveyard. That's actually important because you do have rocks you want to banish to get their effects off, which we'll show you later in the profile. But also he has the effect that you can remove 1 rock monster from your graveyard, send this card to grave, and then have all attack and defense of any monster that battles... Wait a minute, I'm misreading this card. I forgot what he does. It's called... During your standby phase, remove 1 rock monster from your graveyard, or send this card from your graveyard, and then have the defense, attack and defense of any monster that battles this card. That's a cool OTK ability. It basically allows you to help you push your game, and helps you make that anyone who attacks him basically gets halved, which is pretty cool. Next, we play 3 Weathering Soldier. This guy is the heart and soul of all fossil decks. You have to play him. Basically, this guy has the effect of... Well, he has 2 effects. One's shitty, one's good. Shitty effect is that he lowers his attack, I believe, by 400 every turn, which sucks. Or is it 600? Let's find out, shall we? It's 600. He loses 600 attack. That's right, because he goes from 2,000 to 1,400, then to straight up ass. He's not a good card. But his graveyard effect is amazing. When his card is sent to grave, so like Foolish or spell cards that send him to grave, he basically adds a fossil fusion, which is important. These are our ability to search fossil fusion. It's really good. Or a card that specifically lists his fossil fusion. So, really strong card. Next we play 3 Flint Cracker. This guy is amazing support for the archetype. Basically, he's a level 3 rock monster, which is actually pretty good because he's our Naturia Beast monster. So, our Adamancipators are level 2, so he's a level 3, makes you level 5, so just awesome. He also has the effect that when this card is special summoned, you can send a, a fossil from your extra deck to grave, which is pretty awesome. So you send a Fossil Fusion from your extra deck to grave, and then he also has the effect where you can like return one card to return a card in your graveyard that mentions Fossil. So basically, the idea is that when he special summon off an Adamancipator, you send one of your lower level fusions to the grave, and then you get to add or trigger their effects, which is really, really strong. Not to mention, because he's a level 3. Like I said, Naturia Beast is very abundant with this card. It's a very, very strong card. Now, sadly, we do not play any of the Shell Knight, because honestly, Shell Knight kind of sucks. If Shell Knight said that if it was sent to grave, it triggers, then it's an absolute 3-up. But because it says when your opponent activates a card effect that removes it onto the field, then yeah, it kind of sucks. Next, we play 3 of this guy. I don't know how to pronounce him, but he is, you see him, the hidden gem of Seafort, or Sea Rot. He's a really good card. He's basically another extender. You can discard this card, normal summon 1 Earth or Water during your main phase in addition to your normal summon, which is just a really, really strong card. A lot of these decks lose because their normal summon was stopped. So the fact that you can just discard this in hand in order to normal summon again, it's just amazing. Not to mention he's a rock water monster, meaning we can summon him off of Adamancipator Researcher. Him plus Researcher is Herald of Arclight. And also, because he's a water, it means we don't have to be playing the Adamancipator Rock. We can just be playing this guy, and he's our water now, which is awesome. And yeah, that's basically what he does. I believe he has another effect. When this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. So he has a reborn effect, which is awesome. But yeah, he's just a really cool extender, really strong card. Next, we play our 3 Researcher. Now, of course, this is Adamancipator Fossils, so we're playing 3 Researcher, 3 Seeker, and of course 3 Analyzer. You have to. These cards are your best. We all know what these guys do. Basically, they're the key to all rock strategies, but their whole gimmick is that you reveal cards on the top of your deck, and you can special summon a non-tuner monster, which is a non-tuner rock monster, which is really, really strong. Analyzer can special summon itself if you control no monsters, and your opponent does. Seeker can special summon itself if you control an Adamancipator monster, and Analyzer special summons itself if you just control a rock monster, which is the strongest of the 3. He's a level 4, so he's just as good. Seeker is the worst because you have to control an Adamancipator, but it's still not bad. Next, we play 3 Crocky Miru. This guy's really strong. Basically, you contribute him to negate a monster effect, and then you have to reveal a rock before he dies. Next, we play 2 Rock Band Zeno Guitar. This guy's amazing. He would have been really amazing when Block Dragon was legal. Sadly, Block Dragon got banned, and then this guy got released. Or it was like right when Block Dragon got banned. So this guy never really got his time to shine. But basically, when this card is banished, you get to send 1 rock monster from your deck to grave, which is amazing because we can send Weathering Soldier. And when Weathering Soldier is sent to grave, you add a Fossil Fusion, which is just really, really strong. There's multiple ways we can get him banished. Not only does Fossil Fusion banish cards, but like I said, our big boy Giga Plant, this guy right here, he can do it. But also, we're playing 2 Gigantus. He's another way to banish it. He's just a level 4 Earth Extender. Also, he's your back row move. So this deck has trouble against back row decks. Thus, you can play Gigantus because you just special summon him by banishing a rock monster, and then bam! Now when he leaves the field, he's a Harpy's Feather Duster, which is stupid. Well, I tell you he's Heavy Storm because it destroys both players, but you're not setting any spells and traps. So he's just Harpy's Feather Duster basically. Really, really strong card. And that is it for the monsters. Now let's go on to the spells and traps. Alright, so next we play 3 Ultimate Slayer. Now this card is an expensive boy. I'm not going to lie with you. If you were playing a budget version of this deck, which this deck is awfully budget, you will not be playing Ultimate Slayer. But luckily I pulled my playset, so yeah, you definitely would be playing 3. This card's an amazing going second card, which this deck wants to do. And basically what you do is that you set a monster from your extra deck corresponding to the type that your opponent controls, and then you send it back to deck, which is really, really strong. And your opponent can't respond with it with monster effects, which is stupid. So basically, for example, let's say you're playing against Despia and they have a Winda on field. Well, Winda is an auto lose in our deck because we need more than one summon. So if we have Ultimate Slayer hand, we can activate Ultimate Slayer, send a fusion to grave. They can't respond with monster effects. Bounce the Winda back to the extra deck, and then we can trigger off whatever fusion we sent and get its effect off, because we sent a fusion from our extra deck. If it was a ritual, not ritual, if it was like a synchro, we can send a synchro to the grave and then do the same thing. We don't play XYZ or link targets because there's not enough room in the extra deck, but you probably should in a more well-balanced deck. But I only play a synchro and a fusion target. So I think you're going to run into those the most. There's not really a good XYZ target, and the only good link target, I think, is the Link Girl, the Live Twin Girl. But other than that, there's not really a good target when it comes to links. So that is it for the Ultimate Slayer. Now we play 3 Fossil Fusion. As you saw in the art, this card is one of the most beautiful cards in the entire archetype, at least in my opinion. I really think this card's amazing looking. The dinosaurs and the plebosaur, or whatever the hell that fish dude is, I think this card's amazing. But basically, you can fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion monsters listed from your graveyard, except and at specifically requirements. So basically, it's based on their levels. That's how they work. And if this card is banished, you can banish from both graves. So basically, what it's trying to say is that you can not only banish from your grave, but you can also banish from your opponent. So that's why you kind of want your opponent to be playing like, this deck is really good against like fusion and synchro decks, because they usually have big ass fusions and big ass synchros. So if you can manage to kill them and put them in graveyard, you can activate Fossil Fusion and then use their monsters by banishing them to make really strong OTKs, which is just really, really good. Also, if a Fossil Fusion monster you control is destroyed by a card effect while this card's in grave, you can add this card back to hand, which is just really, really good. So it has recursion ability too. This is a really, really strong. Alright, so after Fossil Fusion, which I said was a very, very beautiful card, we play 3 Fractura Miracle, or really what it means is Miracle Rupture. This card's a really, really strong card. It's another way we can send Weathering Soldier to grave. But basically what this card says, you can send 1 level 4 or lower fossil monster from your deck to grave. And then basically it also has the effect that if you control Fossil Fusion in your grave, you get to draw 1. So basically it's a draw 1 if you have what's it called, Fossil Fusion in your graveyard. But basically it's 4 copies of Foolish Burial to send Weathering Soldier to add Fossil Fusion to hand. That is a really, really strong card, and you definitely need it. And the reason why these ones are in English was because this card's very hard to find, at least at my local Oblivion game store. So when they had 3 copies and they were like German or whatever language this is, Spanish, I'm actually no idea. But whatever language this is, you can tell me in the comments. I could not just say no to them. So that's what the effect says. You can go look it up. But that is it for the main deck. Let's go on to the extra deck. Alright, so first things first, let's talk about the extra deck, which I think some of these extra deck are some of the coolest monsters, at least design-wise, in Yu-Gi-Oh! First things first, we have Fossil Dragon Skolagos, our good dinosaur monster. Basically, he's our hardest one to make. He's 1 rock monster plus a level 7 or higher monster from your opponent's graveyard. And basically, what he does is that he's a 3500, and he does double damage when he attacks. And if he attacks a monster defense position, he does double damage because he does piercing. He also has the effect of when he attacks a monster, he can switch. Let's say he's attacking a face-up monster. He can attack, when he attacks it, he can switch the attack and defense. So let's say you're going against like, what's a pretty good example? Let's pull up a really good example. So let's go with a pretty cool example. Let's do him versus our Dirac dinosaur right here. This guy has 1700 attack, 800 defense. Let's say he's in attack position. When he attacks him, he applies his defense to his attack. So now his attack is now 800. Now he's doing double damage to him as an 800. This card does basically double damage to him, which is really, really stupid. Does he get multiple attacks? No, he only gets the one attack, which is pretty really strong. And yeah, he's a really hard beat stick that can really, really kill monsters. The next guy we play is the Fossil Warrior Skull King. Now he's also hard to make. He's a 1-of, but basically he's one rock monster plus a level 7 or higher monster. He's the same materials as this guy, but unlike him, he gets 2 attacks. So he gets 2 attacks, and then he also has the effect. Basically, he also does piercing damage, just like the other one. He's 2800, so he's a little smaller. But he also has the effect, quick effect. You can target one monster your opponent controls, well, not controls, in their grave during your opponent's turn, and then discard one card, reborn it onto your side of the field. So he's a quick effect reborn of your opponent's monsters, which could be crucial in stopping their combos, and also just summoning a really good boss monster that you killed on your turn. Next, you play 2 Fossil Machine Skull Convoy. Now this card's stupid. This guy is a new support card. He's a car, which was really weird. We're going with like fossils and stuff, and also we have a car like the Flintstones. Same thing goes with him. I don't understand this, but basically what this card does is that it gets 3 attacks, which is stupid. When it does damage to the person, when it kills a monster in a battle, it inflicts 1000 damage to him. Also, it has the effect where it modulates their attack, which is stupid. So, when all monsters your opponent controls loses attack equal to their original defense, which is stupid. So, not only are you lowering them, but he's attacking 3 times, and every time he kills a monster, he's burning them for 1000 life points. This guy can OTK very, very easily. And the fact that he's lowering them by their defense is stupid. So it doesn't matter how big, the bigger the monster's defense, the lower their attack is. And usually big-ass monsters have big-ass defenses too. So, yeah, this guy is a menace. He's a very big menace. And the fact that that effect doesn't activate, it's just continuous, is also stupid. Because let's say they have a negate, but you already summoned him onto the field, they can't do nothing because it's a continuous effect and they're just screwed. Now this guy is the lesser version. He only gets 2 attacks, and he only inflicts, I believe, 800 damage. But instead of burning your opponent when he kills a monster, he pops the spell and trap your opponent controls, which is really cool. So he can pop twice, and he can attack, burn 3 times. So he's for your OTKs. He's for like removing the board and trying to OTK. So you go into a back row deck, you want to make him just so you can blow up the back row, which is really, really good. From here on out, every monster in the extra deck floats, which is really, really cool. We play 2 of this guy, Fossil Machine Skull Buggy. This guy is a really, really cool card. He's a level 4, and he has a couple effects. You never really summon this guy, I'll be honest with that. If you do, you're just using it for link fodder, or not link fodder, synchro fodder. Basically what this guy is, when the card is special summoned with Fossil Fusion, this card destroys a monster by battle, you inflict 600 damage to your opponent. But that part doesn't really matter. You're never actually summoning this guy and never going to attack with him. What does matter is that you can banish this card from your grave, add 1 monster that from your deck to your hand that mentions Fossil Fusion. Now that part is what makes this card amazing, because this guy sent off Ultimate Slayer, or sent off our fusion cards, basically says, hey, let me get a free search, which is just really, really strong. Next we play 2 Fossil Skull Fossil Skull Guard. He's another guy we're never really going to summon. He's a level 4, but he has a really cool effect. When he spends summon with Fossil Fusion, this card attacks defensive position monsters and inflict piercing damage. But again, that doesn't really matter. He is a 25, which is not bad stats for piercing damage. But the part that really matters is his graveyard effect. When you can banish this card from your grave, add 1 Fossil Fusion from your deck to your hand. So he can add Fossil Fusion, which is really, really stupid. So you can send him, add Fossil Fusion combo, and just fucking go off. Next you play 1 Fossil Warrior Skull Knight. This guy's really, really cool. Basically, again, we're never really actually summoning this dude, but the reason why we play him is that we want to get him in the grave, and he has a really cool effect. Basically, you can banish this card from your grave, target one monster on the field, and destroy it, which is really, really strong. So you can get this guy in grave off Ultimate Slayer, and then you can just banish this guy in grave to pop a card your opponent controls, which is really, really strong. Helps bait out negation. It's just really, really good. Next, we play Adamancipator Risen. This guy is really, really strong. He basically, Drag-Eye, my apologies. Drag-Eye. Not only does he bounce his cards for every rock you hit, because you mill 5, you escape 5, and for every level 4 or lower rock monster, non-tuner, you get to bounce cards on your opponent's field, which is stupid. Not to mention, if you have a water engrave, he's a spell and trap negate. So he helps you go in first. Really, really strong dude. Next we play one Cyber's Quantum. This guy's really cool, and it's easy to make, plus a 3 and a 4. So, really easy. But basically what he does is that when he attacks, he bounces. So any monster trying to attack him, he bounces it, and then he attacks again, which is pretty good. He helps you clear boards, and he's just a really strong monster. Next we play one Rizite. This guy's really good. We all know he's an extender. And then one Naturia Beast. Now, if you're wondering what's the Ultimate Slayer target, you can take out probably one of these dudes. Make it 1-1-1-1. Make it a one-ofs. I mean, you can put in like Omega, Wind Pegasus, things of that nature. I just got Ultimate Slayer, so probably not going to keep him in this deck. But this is the extra deck for if you don't play Ultimate Slayer. If you are playing Ultimate Slayer, I'll definitely put in some Wind Pegasus. The, what's it called? The Link monster from the girl deck, whose name I can't think of. Shoot, I can't think of its name. The Live Twins, the Live Twin Link 4. I definitely put that in this extra deck. And yeah, Entis is not bad. Herald of Arclight for playing rituals, but we're not playing rituals. And there's a whole bunch of other different targets you can play. Omega wouldn't be bad at all. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Hope you guys leave a comment, say what you feel about it. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.